Hi everyone, my name is John Howchin. I'm the Secretary General of the Council on Ethics of the Swedish National Pension Funds. It's a great honor to be touching base with you. I hope all of you are doing well these interesting and challenging times. As you know, here in Sweden, we've had a different strategy to what you've had in Australia, but I hope this will turn to the better for all of you. A vaccine is coming, and as I speak right now, the stock markets are pushing the heights. So let's keep fingers crossed that this all goes in the right direction. I'm going to talk to you about ESG, and I'm going to talk to you about responsible mining, and I'm going to talk to you about where we're at right now in terms of mining and responsibility. It's a challenging time. Mining is very much in focus all around the world, not only in Australia, but all around the world. And mining is very important. With the transition coming up now, mining is going to be a very important industry. It's been a very important industry for a long time. It is the backbone of the global industry, but focus is going to be very much on mining now with the transition on climate change. As some of you might be aware, we've been highly active within the global tailings standard, taking forward a new standard on tailings together with UNEP, United Nations Environment Program, and ICMM, the Council on Metals and Mining. I have been the representative of the Principles for Responsible Investments, together with Adam Matthews of the Church Pensions Board, English Church Pension Boards, and we're quite happy with the new standards. It's now going to be implemented by the members of the ICMM, and there's going to be a number of guidelines coming out from this. And I think from the investment side, we had about 150 trillion US dollars behind us within this initiative, and from the insurance side and from the banking side, I do think there's an expectation out there that other mining companies are going to implement the standard as well when decent help is on the table and everyone can implement this. We're working with UNEP to set up an independent entity to oversee this standard and the implementation of this standard, and also to get proper third-party verification, independent verification of the implementation of this standard. Obviously, there's other standards out there, some really good standards as well, and people will be using them as well. We have a plan to co-align so they don't mix up, and there's a co-alignment between this, and there will be quite a lot of attention going forward on tailings dams. It has not left the table. You don't need to worry about that. Obviously, the reason for that is that we've just had 5 years since Mariana, and there's soon been 2 years in Brumadinho. And the mining industry can ill afford to have another large-scale tailing dam failure, as we've had now two in very short time frame. The license to operate for mining companies is all about trust, and now we have to put trust into local communities that we're addressing this. As you also might be aware, we've made a request for disclosure on tailings dams, and we contacted about 700 mining companies, listed mining companies globally regarding this. We've received a response from about 400 mining companies, and we've built a database with Grid Arendal. It's available on Grid's homepage as of now, and we have about 2,000 tailings dams disclosed within this database. Go and have a look if you haven't so far. It's very nice, it's very interesting, it's got a lot of interesting information. And we have another about 20,000 tailings dams that we can put into the system, but we need to build a better structure for that. So keep an eye out for that. There will be more information coming in regards of disclosure on tailings dams as well. Right, that was tailings dams. Then we have First Nations and Indigenous people. We have the Yukon Gorge issue, a very unfortunate event. A very tragic event that has also put the social license to operate and the license to operate for mining companies not only in Australia, but all over the world, this continues to be an issue that needs focus. And this is a tricky issue. We acknowledge that, and we as investors are not always best put to understand how each local issue should be managed or handled. But there will be an interest from the investment community on how mining companies manage First Nations and Indigenous peoples' rights. So keep that space open, keep watching that space, keep working on that space. It's very important. As always, when you've had such an issue as Yukon Gorge, there will be interest and there will be little space for making mistakes. So that's going to be in continued focus for 2021. I think many mining companies will be contacted by investors in regards to this, and there will be a discussion on what kind of procedures companies are having, what kind of work people are doing on the ground. It's really difficult to read out from reporting in regards to this, so watch that space. And then we have climate change, and as I mentioned initially, we have the 2020s will be the decade of transition. There's a lot of focus on transition now within the investment community. There's a lot of pressure onto investors and to the financial markets to not be a part of increasing climate change or accelerate climate change. As you all are aware of, there's a lot of interest into the mining industry regarding climate change, not only the footprint of the companies where there's a focus now, but also on the impacts of climate change in regards to mining sites, access to water, etc., and deforestation in regards to mining companies and local operation, etc., impact on local communities from climate change and from increased mining. But there's obviously a lot of opportunities for the mining industry in terms of climate change as well. I mean, all the new technologies, batteries, wind power, we're going to be moving into a hydrogen economy, which will mean a lot of need for different new materials, is an opportunity for mining companies. But we need to be smarter now, and we need to raise the bar. And with these opportunities comes responsibilities as well. But the transition will be very much in focus, and there is now work within the investment community to drive what we call the Net Zero Accelerator. So we're going to be working across the value chain. And I think this is important because there's a lot of great mining companies out there doing some excellent work, but you need to get paid for that. You need to earn that extra buck for doing the right thing and being sustainable and being responsible. And we need to put added value into different streams of materials. And I think that goes hand in hand with the value chain work, where you get, say, a car company adding value by saying that they have responsible steel or responsible copper in different brandings within their car. We already have that in terms of leather and other interior materials, but we need to address the minerals side as well to add that value and to give the industry a carrot to perform better. I think there are some good strands of work happening there, but I think the Net Zero Accelerator will push that work forward. We also have the issue of coal. There's a lot of focus from a lot of stakeholders onto the investment side on coal. Now with China, Japan, South Korea making pledges for net zero in 20 years, 25 years from now, I think the writing is on the wall. Having said that, obviously it will take time, but coal will continue to be in focus. Financing of coal on a global scale will be in focus. And yeah, keep watching that space. Finally, just going to check how we're doing here. Finally, in Sweden, we have something called a fire soul. And that means we have people that has a soul on fire. And you need to take care of your fire souls. There's a lot of challenging issues out there for mining companies. And there's no time for complacency. And you've got to keep it up. You've got to let that fire soul, it could be the CEO, but sometimes I meet the fire soul within the organization. You've got to let your fire soul burn a bit. Now you've got to question, you've got to keep it alive, you've got to keep sustainability and responsibility alive, because we need excellent mining companies with license to operate, safeguarding the future of mining. And I know a number of you who are listening into this now will be those fire souls. So please keep it up and take care. Stay safe.